And ladies and gentlemen, in place. Oh, just love it. Okay then, back in the shed with Zephyrus, and so many little projects all overlapping. Just been for some supplies. Have stuff to carry on. Look at how beautiful this cockpit is coming along. Yes, of course, it's full of sandpaper and other sorts of things, but Lady Zephyrus is doing an amazing job of refinishing all the beautiful mahogany in here. And of course, she's finishing up, got the first coat of varnish on the transom last night. For a boat that doesn't have wooded sides, I must say it has a very, very lovely cockpit. Okay, so I'm going to be carrying on the cabin sides over there. I'm not showing you much about it because I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to finish putting the mast back together, and other than that, well, I'm not sure what we're doing. I want to take a break from the misery that I'm doing to check in with Lady Zephyrus here. She's carrying on in the cockpit. You've done such a nice job here, it's unbelievable.
Once you start,
you can't
have to do everything.
You can't do a stop. How
I was
beautiful.
just going to do that.
Yeah.
And then I looked over there, and then I looked over there. And yesterday I did all this and this, and then I went, I got to do that.
I know.
But then I got to do that, and I got to do that. And I've done all of that.
I think they call it ship fitters.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, ship fitters disease.
It's not two-footitis, it's ship fitters.
Exactly. Just extended. Anyway, you're doing a great job. Look how great Finnegan is. Just hanging out.
As long as he gets his exercise.
Just hanging out. Yeah, he's been a good boy. He's been a good boy. Yes, he has. Whoop, no scratches, no scratches.
No scratchies.
Okay, then, well, what I'm doing, I really don't want to talk about. No, I'm not gonna go on about it. If it starts to get better, I'll show you. Oh, time to make some bungs. Whew. It's really the only thing I use this drill press for because it is so underpowered. It can barely cut a 3/8 inch bung. Never mind drill a hole in anything. I'm using the Veritas snug plug cutters. They cut a tapered plug and they cut a really good, straight, clean tapered plug. Now the only problem is I don't find they last all that long, so you got to be careful you don't overheat them. Now this particular step creates questions every single time I do it. What I am doing is marking on the back of the plugs the direction of the grain. And what that'll do, that makes it a lot easier when it's time to come and install them. And yes, I can see the grain, but sometimes when you're working at a funny angle or something like that, you're grateful for a nice strong line across it. Now, here's the question. People always say, why don't you just draw a line across the board in advance before you cut the bungs, and then that way the lines would be already on the bungs. The only problem is these are tapered and chamfered end, these bungs. They're really, really nice. And in fact, the tapered and chamfered end is up when I make the cut. Therefore, when I put the line across it, not only is it shaved off, it's on the wrong end of the bung. I need it on the end that I can see when I'm installing it. Anyway, so hopefully that solves that particular question for a long, long time. so here's the mast off again and the 1/4 inch holes drilled through. Now these are 3/8 lags, and to be fair, 1/4 inch is a bit tight for a 3/8 lag, but I want a really good bite in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a shorter spare 3/8 lag here, and I'm going to turn it into a tap by slicing some slots in the threads here so that I can actually cut threads in these holes so I can have a really great bite in here. I've never done this before. I've thought about it. I'm sure it's got to work, right? Ooh. Okay, well, I'm certainly going to say it looks like a tap. So let's see if it cuts like a tap. Very nice. Very nice. I can see threads in there. Very nice. Now, to be fair, when I assemble all this thing and I run these bolts all the way up through inside the cabin, I can't be sure that these are going to engage in these threads just perfectly, but I think I'm way ahead of where I would have been, and now I'm pretty sure there's no chance I will split this apart later. Exterior bungs really want epoxy because we do not want water infiltration around here and making big ugly black messes. I made a mistake a couple of years ago, and it involved the installation of the engine on Geordie. And what I did was I wired it up myself because I think I'm so clever. Anyway, what I did, I wired up all the circuits in the instrument panel to one circuit, which was fine. So things like the lights for the dash lights and the instruments and the gauges and all that, as well as the field for the alternator, which goes on when you turn the key on, as well as the VHF radio. Okay, so there's where the problem is. Yesterday, while moving things around out on Geordie, while the engine was running, charging up the batteries at a terrific rate of about 160 amps, I shorted out the two wires for the radio. Now that's no problem because it instantly blew the breaker. That's where the problem is. Now there was no power to the field on the alternator while it had been charging away quite ferociously. Those of you who know what happened next know how the severity of the mistake I made. Well, it instantly self-destructed. There was lots of smoke, and if you remove the field from an alternator, some alternators, while they're working hard, the field flips. Something magical in the world of magnetism happens that causes a lot of damage. Well, the alternator on that motor is quite expensive and not easily available, so I have bought a generator, and unfortunately it barely runs. It'll only run with the choke on. Looking at this plug tells me that it has definitely been running with just the choke on for quite a while. So I'm going to see if I can tidy this up a bit, and we can keep the fridge on Geordie until I can afford a new alternator. The main problem, of course, is in the carburetor somewhere with a clogged jet, no doubt. But let's get this cleaned up so at least when I get the carburetor happy, it won't be a problem with the plug. On to the carburetor. Okay, so first off, let's see if there was any water in the carb bowl. Pretty chronic problem with these. And if you look in here, oh yes, tons of water. Not only tons of water, tons of crap. Ooh, 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 ooh. All right. Ooh. All right, with the float assembly off, I'm going to try and back blow through a couple of circuits. And we'll see if we can't get this to open up a little bit. There's the idle circuit right there. There's the screw for it. I'll blow back through there a little bit. What I can do is open the throttle, take a wad of paper, throttle's open, and give it a blow. Gas is going to squirt out places. I'll close my eyes. Now, without really understanding this carburetor, that's about as far as I can go. Put it back together, see how it looks. Okay, this cabin side thing is definitely been a mess, but I've developed a little tool that's making part of it at least slightly less miserable. And what that is this little sanding block. It's a little bit sophisticated. Let me put the sandpaper in and maybe that'll make it a little more clear. Okay, so there's this little relief at the bottom, and that holds the bottom of the sandpaper, wraps around the bottom edge, and then up into this little profile here, which matches the profile of a little bit of trim at the bottom of the cabin side. So if as long as I just press that in there nicely, and I do that just like this, and back up against there, I hold it here, clearance for my knuckles. Let me show you. If you remember what a mess this was, it's on its way back, but now I'm priming so that I can really see any last imperfections and then fill the imperfections. This is entirely formed out of filler. All right, so this just sits in against here, and I can sand back and forth, and it recreates the shape of this little contour here. And I've had to do that in more than a few places because it was quite damaged. In fact, you can see right here, there isn't enough material on here, so I'm gonna have to add some filler and deal with that. But on the whole, this little tool has been a lifesaver trying to straighten out all of this. Cool. Ugh, what a mess. And that will be improved through the magic of Facebook Marketplace and lots of money spent on these two very, very pretty bronze 6-inch portholes that fit absolutely perfectly. Lady Zephyrus has been looking for these for a long time, so when they came up, regardless of the ridiculous price that was asked for them, they are now available, and I'm going to install them in the aft two of those 4 port lights so that there's at least some ventilation up there. But what I think I'm going to do is put a nice mahogany ring on here, which will solve a couple of problems. The depth of the existing tube on here is a bit too deep, and I'm certainly not going to cut it, and that'll cover all that messy edge of the existing ceiling that's on there. Anyway, let's see how that goes. Gosh, these are nice. I'm going to use this as a work surface to lay out the mahogany ring that will sit behind the porthole. And I'll make that out of 6 pieces of mahogany, and that should work out pretty well. But I do have to lay it out to make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay, so the inside has to be something larger than 6.5. 1, 2, 3 1/4. Excellent. And the outside needs to be a good inch or more beyond here. Of course, the more mahogany, the better. So let's look at something. Well, let's look at a foot. Let's look at a foot. Excellent. From here, we'll set this up at 30 degrees. There. Now this is not meant to be super accurate, but at least it'll give me a rough indication of how big a piece of wood I need. Okay. I draw a line through here at said 30 degrees. And then also right through about here. That tells me how big a piece of wood I need to be able to make 6 of these. So the width is 3.5, and the length will be from the longest side to the short side, because I'll cut it alternating. So I'm just going to guess here and pop that right up there and say about 5.5. Excellent. Yeah. All right then, so as I start to lay it out, looks really good, and well, the last piece doesn't fit perfectly. Well, that's not surprising at all, because if I imagined that I would have the saw set up for exactly 30 degrees, so close that the cumulative error on all these cuts wouldn't be perfect, that would be amazing. So very, very easy. I will just trim this last one and make sure it fits. It won't be a problem at all. Okay, let's start to put this together. I just drilled a hole, which I believe is in the very center of this. It's slightly offset because I didn't put the blocks down correctly. And now I'm going to take this whole board and I'm going to take it over here and I'm going to put it on this screw, which is sticking out of this piece of plywood slightly more than 6 inches from the blade. And I think that will allow me to just gently raise the blade and start to cut a circle in this. All right, well, let's see. That part went great. Woohoo! Oh, I'm telling you, I am so pleased with these. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And look what I have, some beautiful bronze screws to affix them. And to make sure I put the bronze screws in the right place, I'm going to use the self-centering drill bit, which most of you should be familiar with. I get these at Lee Valley. Okay. Oh, lovely. Can't wait to see it in place. And ladies and gentlemen, in place. Oh, just love it. Love it. Love it. I don't know if you have enough light to see what's going on here, but my gosh, that's beautiful. What isn't beautiful is this ceiling. So this is actually a relatively temporary install. I've replaced 2 of the screws with long screws that will go right through to the wood behind, and that will secure it. And in fact, I'll go outside in a few minutes and I'll put some sealant in between the 2 intersecting rings, and that'll do for the months between now and when I replace all this ceiling. And then I think this folks will have the look that it deserves. Oh yeah, I love it, love it, love it. And if you love it at all, how about considering subscribing to the show and sticking around? If you really love it, give it a big old like, thumbs up, and possibly share it with that friend of yours who might also love it. But if you really love it, consider supporting the show through Patreon or PayPal. The links are down below. I'd really appreciate that. Ventilation in this forecastle. I'll be putting the other side on in a couple of days, but right now we're gearing up to head out for a short little cruise for summer solstice. Well, greetings and welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week, coming to you this week from the cozy aft cabin, not aft cabin, cockpit of MV Zephyrus in beautiful Fulford Harbor. I've been saying all day that it looks like Italy or Switzerland over there. Well, the sun is just about to go down because it is really late, and it's the longest day of the year because it is
Summer solstice.
Summer solstice.
Favorite day of the year?
That's our favorite day of the year. It's the longest day, although it does mean it's every day from now on is shorter.
No, it's shorter. Just when you're getting into summer.
All right. Well, let's move on and have a beer to deal with that.
Let's do that.
What's that?
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Hoynes Down Easy Pale Ale. I've never had this before. We were just up to the Mercantile, which is the little store here in Fulford Harbor, and I wanted to get something in a bottle because it's a long time since we've had an actual bottled beer on the show. Well, this is like a little mini cruise, is it not?
Yeah, it's a real cruise.
We left.
It's a mini cruise.
This is for you.
I'm trying to get to it.
Okay.
Ben, you want it?
We thought we would celebrate and take a break from all the pretty intensive boat work that's been going on lately and have a little mini cruise for the summer solstice weekend.
Thank you.
That might have been poured a bit fuzzy.
Okay.
And first stop is Fulford Harbor, one of our favorite spots. All right then, so let's see what we think of Down Easy from Hoyne.
Down easy.
Cheers. Cheers. Where'd Frida go?
She's down easy.
Yeah, it's a pale ale.
It's a pale ale.
Good for summer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
it goes down easy.
Goes down easy.
Down easy.
Not that bad. All right. Okay. So we have to congratulate a winner of the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week word for last week, and that individual is, if I can pull it up on my phone, Ben Stein, Steyn 1974. Ben sent us off an email at swag@travelswithgeordie.com, and we'll make sure you get your shirt. You know, all we need now is a Travels with Geordie Word of the Week for next week, and it being the first day of
Summer.
summer. Let's Finny Boo.
I think he's picked a word.
He's picked the word. You're a tough fella. I think you figured it out. Summer will be the word of the week this week, and you know what to do with it. Cheers. See you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, cheers. Hey.